What's up everyone, welcome to the Dixie Vodka 400 Top 5 DFS Picks video for Sunday, October 23rd at Homestead-Miami Speedway, one of my favorite tracks in the NASCAR Cup Series. As always, I'm your host, Chris Pennell. You can find me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16, and this video is presented by Prize Picks. In today's video, we are going over general track strategy, how to approach the slate from a DFS perspective, and my top 5 favorite plays on the slate. Keep in mind this video is being posted post-practice and qualifying, so we do have all the necessary information to break down the entire slate here without any needed updates. So if you do have any further questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And if I see them, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. And as far as how we should approach this slate from a DFS perspective, this is going to be your prototypical 1.5 mile build. We have 400 miles, 267 laps, which equates to just under 200 total odometer points. So we're mainly looking at 2 lap leaders per lineup, although with the way these races have performed this year at the 1.5 mile or just intermediate tracks in general, we've seen a lot of chaos and a lot of lap leaders. So I hate to really call them dominators too much because it seems like the dominators are only leading a small portion of the laps. It's really just a matter of who is able to finish the race these days. But per lineup, I would try to at least have 2 drivers that are capable of leading some laps at some point, but you might also find yourself with 3 to 4 depending on the price points you get to. And if you are looking for similar tracks to Homestead, I think Darlington is going to be your best comparison. It's a steeper track with a lot of tire wear, which Homestead is going to eat up the tires. They asked Ross Chastain on a scale of 1 to 10 how much it's really eating up tires, and he said 50. And we saw some tire fall off, and especially in the practice times in the session on Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning, I should say. So expect tires to be certainly an issue, which we've seen many times this year, but it is going to make the racing a bit more interesting. But anyway, moving on to the picks, we'll start with number 5, and it's actually a very risky play here, certainly only for tournaments, but it's John Hunter Nemechek, $6,100 on DraftKings, only $5,800 over on FanDuel, and he's filling in for Bubba Wallace this week, who got suspended due to the altercation that he got into with Kyle Larson after the wreck on last Sunday's race. But he's starting in 4th, and this makes him incredibly risky because this is his first Cup Series race in a couple of years now, although back in the day during the COVID era, I think it was the first year COVID came back, he did have a top 10 finish at Darlington, and he did flash upside here and there. He's a very talented driver, but he stepped down just to go to the Truck Series to win some championships. That hasn't really came into fruition yet, but he was super fast in practice on Saturday, which is really why I am interested. First in the 1 lap in practice, 3rd in the 5 lap, 5th in the 10, 3rd in the 15 and the 20, 5th in the 25, and 6th in the 30. He had a good short run car, a very good long run car. He qualified well. It seems like he has a fast car, and he's in a very good ride. This is the Bubba Wallace car, number 45, and also Kurt Busch earlier in the season before he retired and had the concussion. But Bubba Wallace has shown that you can win in this car. It has speed, and John Hunter Nemechek is a very talented driver, probably even better than Bubba Wallace. Starting in 4th, it's risky, but his price point, he's even able to lose some spots and still put up a decent fantasy score. And then moving on to number 4, it's another driver that I don't think is going to have incredibly high ownership because of how poorly he performed in practice, but it's Eric Jones at $7,900 on DraftKings, $7,200 on FanDuel. He's starting mid-pack here in 22nd. And while his history at Homestead isn't anything super impressive, an average finish just inside 20th place, in practice was really bad. 27th in the 1 lap, 31st in the 5, 26th in the 10, and 22nd in the 15. But the thing is, though, he's been really fast at some similar tracks this year, also with some tire wear. Won the most recent Darlington race, finished 25th at the first Darlington race, but just didn't really go his way. But then 3rd at Auto Club to start the season. He had arguably the fastest car at that track, which is also high tire wear. So even though he didn't really show it in practice, I still think he's going to have speed during this race, and I'm hoping a poor practice performance is going to lower that ownership to make him a very decent tournament play. And moving on to number 3, we're going with Ross Chastain here, $9,600 on DraftKings, $12,500 over on FanDuel. He's starting mid-pack here in 20th, and he was very fast in practice, and Ross kind of bounced back last week. He had a very good week. Found him inside the optimal lineup. 6th in the 1 lap in practice, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 5th, 3rd in the 5 through 25 lap runs. And it's always good when Ross shows speed in practice because typically he isn't always the fastest guy during Saturday's sessions. But when he's fast in practice, that usually means he's going to be pretty fast during the race. And I like him a lot here. I know his numbers at Homestead aren't super impressive, but you got to keep in mind it's a completely different scenario this year with Trackhouse racing. Their cars have been a lot faster. And while the finishes haven't been there at similar tracks this year, 20th and 30th at the 2 Darlington races and 29th at Auto Club, he was still one of the fastest cars at Darlington, just had issues. But starting in 20th, his place differential upside mixed in with his potential race winning upside with dominator potential, that's going to make him a fantastic play below $10,000. And I like pairing up with the driver starting closer to the front. And before we get into our next pick, I want to talk about our sponsor, Prize Picks, because they do make these videos possible. And as of right now, for a new user over on the website, you can get a first match deposit bonus up to $100 in addition to a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum to come in, take advantage of all the premium tools that we have over on the website for DFS, betting, and of course, Prize Picks. You can play across all sports, win up to 10 times your entry fee. So come in, sign up using the link down below, or you can head over to prizepicks.com, download the App Store, and make sure you use promo code AWESEMO to take advantage of the deal that we have going on. And moving on to number 2, we are going with Kyle Larson, $10,800 on DraftKings, $13K over on FanDuel. And every single time we head to Homestead, we have to have interest in Kyle Larson because the fastest way around this track is close to the wall. And Kyle Larson is one of those drivers that extremely excels at that. And if you're looking at his recent history here at Homestead, it's pretty darn good. He's averaging the second most DraftKings points per race here, nearly 70 per race, the best driver rating, the best average running position, 3 top 5s, and by far the most dominant points. He's also very good at Darlington, and he won at Auto Club earlier in the season. So really all signs point to Kyle Larson having a very good race here. And if you're looking at practice, he had the second best long run car, only behind Tyler Reddick, which hint hint, you might hear about him in a few seconds. And finally, my number 1 play for the Dixie Vodka 400 at Homestead-Miami Speedway. It's got to be the man, Tyler Reddick, $10,900 on DraftKings, $14K over on FanDuel, the most expensive driver on both sites. He's starting in 7th. He's the odds-on favorite to win this race when it opened, and after a very strong practice and qualifying session, the same can still be said about him. He had a great car in practice. He had the best in the long run. He was first from the 15 through 30 lap averages. He's actually averaging the most DraftKings points per race here with an average finish of 3rd. It hasn't really been a lap leader, but the 2 races that he's had here in the Cup Series, he started near the back, so he just really hasn't had the chance to do that, but he does have the second most laps, or fast laps per race, although it is a smaller sample size. And he's also really good at Darlington. He's finished 3rd there earlier in the season, then 2nd at the beginning of the year. Auto Club wasn't the same story for him, where he finished in 24th, but fastest way around the track is near the wall, and that's the same can be said at Darlington. And this is a track that's pretty much built for Tyler Reddick. He killed here in the Xfinity Series, and so far in the Cup Series, it's pretty much been the same form, just hasn't really been a dominator in terms of leading laps, but starting near the front, that can certainly change this week. So just to recap, at number 5, we have John Hunter Nemechek, number 4, Eric Jones, number 3, Ross Chastain, number 2, Kyle Larson, number 1, Tyler Reddick. And all these drivers are either very fast in practice, really good at these track types, or a combination of the 2. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys this week. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. But I wish you all the best of luck, and I can't wait for the race at Miami.